This episode of Super Pulp Science is brought to you by the Maddox Warriors 2025 Superhero Run. This September 13th at 8 a.m., it's a 5 or 10K run. It's for a great cause, and you can sign up now.
Attention, citizens. It's time for Super Pulp Science.
This is Super Pulp Science, where genre gets made. I am your long-suffering co-host host for this week, Justin Curry, also known as Chasing Artwork. I'm here with producer extraordinaire Dan Vadeboncoeur.
Hello.
And Lyndon.
Hi.
What do we introduce you as? Friend of the studio?
Friend of the studio, Infinite Studios,
Yeah.
Producer Mediocre. We've got a long-running list of names titles that I'm occasionally, the letter that I'm occasionally slapped with.
My brain is still mush from San Diego. I don't know about yours.
Yeah, Gregory isn't here, so it's just the three of us.
Yeah. I think it's a good idea to start the podcast with, because the dear listener only knows Gregory full of pip and joy and excitedness, and we broke him in the San Diego Comic-Con. By the end of that trip, in the last leg of the airport, it was a quiet, somber, one-word answer, Gregory.
It's true, he was done.
Yeah.
He's done by the end. We were all done by the end.
Which is funny. I've seen that show do it to a couple people who are just like those outgoing social butterfly types. But after the 5 days of San Diego Comic-Con, after hundreds of interactions a day, you just have nothing left for socialization and niceties. And that's where we left Gregory, a puddle on the floor. So he has abandoned us.
Yeah, he's. I can't wait to hear his response to those accusations.
But yeah, we got back from the San Diego 2025 Comic-Con. It's a 5-day event. You start the show on Wednesday, which is like preview night or professional night, but it's a very busy day that Wednesday, and then it goes till Sunday. And I think it's North America's biggest convention. It's neck and neck with New York Comic Con. They kind of steal each other's attendance numbers back and forth. The hubbub on the floor sounded like this was a bit of a slower year attendance-wise for the convention.
How does that come to you? How do you hear that?
Attendees, just like we usually, they ask, how is your show going? And we always return well, how about you guys? We're stuck behind the table. We really have no idea what's going on up above the Hall H where the big announcements are being made and elsewhere at the show. We just see our little, 260-degree view of the one spot of the floor, and that's primarily what we get, So this,
regardless, it's full of people.
It's definitely a lot of people.
Yeah.
This year we were across from the Tron Ares booth, so we got to watch the Tron Ares trailer on loop, and the scene of the light bike cutting a cop car in half is scorched into my brain forever.
I listened to a lot of audio of Handnet feeds by
Nine Inch
Nails.
Yeah. Because they weren't playing the Tron soundtrack, they were just playing Nine Inch Nails songs on loop.
But it's 9 Inch Nails in the soundtrack.
Right, yeah. They're doing the whole album.
They haven't released the album. At the Comic-Con, the big thing was they had a vinyl that was in the shape of, kind of like a triangle. It's like the disc on...
They throw at each other, yeah.
Right, but it wasn't a disc. The new Tron villain has a slightly different shaped disc, and it kind of looks like Iron Man's chest plate from Iron Man 3. It's kind of that triangular shape, and it had 4 tracks of the new album on it. So it's not available anywhere else except for that cool little vinyl track. They were selling for $25, and Lyndon checked eBay, and it's already up for $250 if you want to get a copy.
10 times. Yep. People used to run in the mornings and get in line for their discs, and I was crossing the floor one morning. I watched 2 guys almost get into a fist fight because they thought someone was cutting. There's a whole thing at San Diego Comic.
Which, it's really we do shows all over the place, and San Diego really has a monopoly on that show exclusive. Nowhere else are people really asking what if you have a show exclusive or talking about show exclusives, but there it's a big focus. And in the morning, we kind of write the first 20 minutes, half an hour off of the day off, because we know everybody who gets in first is lining up for some exclusive they know about to get that, and that's all they care about first thing. Whereas that's not really the case anywhere else in any other shows.
New York Comic Con must have exclusives.
I think they're starting to, but it's still not to the degree.
Okay.
I remember Steven and I did a Saskatoon Expo exclusive in 2019. I think we still have some of that stock kicking around in the back room somewhere.
What do you do with it? So I did an exclusive this year, and it went really well. I made 100 of them. It was a tiny print, and they all sold. But the whole time they were selling, I was in my mind like, if I have some of these left over, what can you do? Do you just hold on to them? They're not allowed to go anywhere. Do you sell them online as like, these are the remainders of the exclusive? Do you destroy them? Like, what should you do if you have a dozen left in an exclusive that's supposed to be show exclusive?
I think you put them on eBay.
Don't you just wait till next year and sell them again at the same event next year?
But it's the 2025 exclusive.
That's what eBay is for,
Yeah.
right? I bet a bunch of the...
So then it doesn't matter after the event's over, you're saying?
Well, I'm imagining if there are vendors out there that have exclusives left over, that's where they end up, because no one's going to know whether or not they were bought at the show or not.
Right.
This is now just a San Diego 2025 exclusive item. So
And they all get put up on eBay. Anyway.
everything goes up on eBay anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
Like the Tron disc. Like if there's any Tron discs left over, those are on eBay now,
Yeah.
selling for 10 times their value. I bet some vendors actually withhold some of those items so that they can make more money.
Actually, I heard a story. San Diego a couple of years ago, it's very hard to get into San Diego even as an attendee. For exhibitors, you save a good chunk of money if you grandfather in. So if your booth is $1,000 as an example, when you grandfather in, it's $650, right? It's a good chunk of change that you save for grandfather in. So nobody ever gives up their table. So there's not a lot of movement in the San Diego floor plan. There's definitely some movement, but like not a lot because everybody holds on to that spot. And for attendees as well, there's like a lottery system. You have to wait in line. Like it's hard to get just attendees badges for San Diego. And so there was a group of people that couldn't get attendees badge, but they managed to get a booth at San Diego Comic-Con. They have nothing to sell. So they got their booth to get their exhibitor badges to get into the show floor early. And what they would do is every day they would meet at their booth, and then they would make plans of like, okay, I'm going to the Mondo booth, you go to the Marvel booth, you go to the DC booth, and like we get these exclusives. And then they'd meet back there and sit at the table and start posting them online for sale. And that's what they did day after day, was get in line first for the exclusives because they're in there before any of the attendees are in, and then immediately mark them up. And they were even selling them at the show. So later on Saturday, they were selling the Friday exclusives from whatever booth, because a lot of booths have like a Thursday exclusive, a Friday exclusive, a Saturday. So this booth was selling those just marked up.
It's a good gimmick.
Well, it lasted, I don't know if they made it all the way till Sunday, because enough of the vendors complained like, we don't think this should be a thing, and the con agreed, so they got kicked out and banned for life. But just kind of, the fervor that goes into the exclusives that you just don't see it at any other show. And I think it's cool, but I also think it's a little weird and unhealthy.
It's a little manufactured, I think, at this point. Like it was, I get the original intent behind it, but now it's like everybody's doing it. So what is the point to having like every single someone do an exclusive?
Yeah, and those people who do like way too many of them, knowing that there's no chance they'll get sold out, so they can continue selling them online after. Like, it kind of loses its specialness to it.
This is a specialness as soon as it goes online in my mind. If you don't buy it at the con, then it's not an exclusive.
I didn't have nobody today with a baby.
He was by himself!
I really like the hand numbering things. A couple of people I know do the enamel pins, and even on the back you can like laser engrave like the numbers on that. And I think that's like a key component to like, this is my promise that you're not getting a mass produced thing, and there's actually some exclusivity to this. But yeah, I had so much fun with it. I'm going to do an exclusive for the Toronto Fan Expo and see how that goes as well. Just a one-off, only available there print. We'll see.
I was looking through the archive, and Dan, you can correct me if I'm wrong here. I don't remember when the last time Justin sort of broke down what it's like to go to San Diego Comic-Con and the kind of planning that he has to do.
Every year, actually.
It all blends together.
Well, I mean, I think what we talk about, what are you doing new this year? What is like, and just kind of talking about the stuff that's present in your mind as after you've done it or right before you've done it, just to talk about that. So,
right.
One thing worth mentioning this year is I didn't even attempt to ship pins down to the States because of the tariff situation right now. My canvases as well, I ordered like in June. My canvas order was, so we had like, more than 25 days to get them down there. They got held up at the border. There was new information they wanted out of the canvas printer. They needed to get more information out of me. It was like a whole different process than in years past. And by the time we got everything figured out, it was too late to get them to the show. And so we had to turn them back. So I was short dozens and dozens of big canvases that were supposed to be there. And then no pins as well. So it definitely felt just... for the dear listener, there's a trade war going on between Canada and the U.S. right now, and it has made getting stuff into the shows at the States definitely a lot more complicated. And yeah, I didn't want to I work with a printer down there. I was shipping some stuff to him, even with bulk number of books or pins or canvases. I was really worried about him getting hit with some kind of tariff bill because things are just changing all the time. And so it was more stress than usual this year. But
went well.
Yeah, the show went well. We have the same location that we've had in the last little while, which is it's a great spot. The only reason I'm there is because somebody dropped out last second, and I just happened to be emailing my San Diego contacts around the same time, like, hey, did anybody drop out? Like, I'd been applying every year for 6 years. Like, the day after the show ended, the day the applications went up, I would apply. And then getting close to the show, I'd always just kind of email, like, has anybody dropped out? I do different stuff. Look at my booth, just kind of like selling yourself a little bit as to why you're different than a lot of other vendors that are applying. And in 2017, it finally worked. Somebody dropped out, and I got this great spot. So the only way I'll ever give it up if something horribly bad happens, because...
Or something awesome happens. Or if you got a bigger space.
Yeah.
Bigger space would be nice.
That would be cool, but...
I was talking to my parents about San Diego, and they were like, I said I was going down with you, but they were like, so was it only chasing artwork? Did you get to sell any of your own stuff? And I'm like, no, this was just chasing artwork. And they went, if you wanted to, could you have sold your own stuff? And I had to be like, if I got my own booth, but there is no space at the Chasing Artwork booth.
Well, I've tried that before in the early days of like getting into conventions and like friends who are kind of like wanting to dip their toes.
Right.
I was like, okay, yeah, let's put like 2 of your prints up on my booth.
Right.
And it just, people
Doesn't
are
work.
confused by it. Like, what is this?
Right.
Oh, it's a different artist? So how many artists are here? And like, I tried it, I think 3 or 4 times, and every single time it didn't work. And then when some of those people went and got their own booths, they did fantastic.
Right.
But when you have just one piece of somebody else's art at your booth, like nobody knows. But you and Gregory still managed to like get your own feelers out there and make your own contacts, regardless of the Chasing Artwork badge that you're both supposed to be wearing. Gregory didn't wear his.
Gregory changed his badge on day 1.
Yeah,
he wasn't even wearing a Chasing Artwork badge, and Justin didn't put his foot down. Neither did the head of HR.
I don't think you should bring it back next year.
Yeah, that's what I feel too. Just bring me and Steven.
Yeah.
Steven would love San Diego because we went to that show together for the first time and only other time 10 years ago.
So talk about the difference between the 10 years ago and this year.
Oh, well, we went as attendees, right? So I only ever saw the busy, exhausting side. Now, this was also exhausting. In fact, talking about it makes me feel exhausted, but
it's too soon.
It's completely different. Where you spend 3 days walking the floor. Steven, I had gotten a badge through the organizers of the former convention in Winnipeg. So I had a full weekend pass that I used to get in, but Steven had to apply for the lottery, and he was lucky enough that he got 3 of the 4 days. He just didn't get the Saturday. So that when we went a decade ago, on the Saturday, we went and did the outside the convention stuff in the immediate area. So like there was another Walking Dead convention going on, like a 10-minute walk away from the convention center. And this was like peak Walking Dead time. So all the main cast of The Walking Dead were at San Diego Comic-Con on the floor on the Saturday, and we went to this convention that had all the actors for characters that had been killed off of The Walking Dead, that were over there. So we did we did the other stuff, but seeing it from the creator side, I think if I wasn't working a booth like the Chasing Artwork booth, or I didn't have my own booth, but I wanted to go as an attendee again, I think I'd only go on like the Thursday or Friday. The Saturday is so crazy, and it feels like the movie studios, like that has sort of dulled. Like there was no Marvel presence at all there this year. DC did a Peacemaker season 2 thing on the Saturday, but that was also really it, despite the fact that both of those studios have huge movies that are in theaters right now, that I'd probably just sit out the Saturday anyway because of how packed it is, how little, like, people are starting to run out of stock by the Saturday, so you're not necessarily getting the merchandise that you want to buy. Like I saw, even after the first day, the DC booth on the floor was starting to run out of things. And it's just generally busier. People are more tired. I think those first 2 days would just be, and maybe like the preview night would be all I would need as an attendee going again.
Yeah. Preview night, it's just industry professionals, is what it's supposed to be. There's a lot of professional badges at San Diego, and more so than any other show, I walk away from the show with business cards of exciting things to follow up on. And even though, you guys didn't have a table, you guys both came away with lots of exciting things to follow.
I have a lot of emails I have to send next week.
Yeah. So that's something like I definitely noticed, like as somebody who, like conventions and Artist Alley are like the meat of my business, right? I do freelance from time to time. I do other things. But like going to conventions and selling my work is my bread and butter. And then at San Diego, seeing all these professionals that the show floor is the last thing on their list of importance. It's all about the meet and greets and the shaking hands and the setting things up. It felt like back when I used to work in video games, we go to the GDC, the Game Designer Conference, and people have like all the booths on the floor. Not single one of them is selling anything. It's just like, look at what we can do. Let's set up a meeting and set something up.
Right. Yeah, it's I know Gregory's going to want to talk a little bit more about the business side of things when he returns to the podcast, but I can talk about sort of the difference between attending San Diego versus, I've attended New York with you in the past. Mm-hmm. But this is the first show where I have a, quote unquote, professional comics writing credit that's sort of official now. And that's, again, that I have a short coming out with DC Comics later this year. And so it felt as though when we would go to New York, I felt as though the only time I could really connect with other industry professionals was on the floor, because they have booths there. I can approach them when they're there. I can try and connect with them in some fashion. But in San Diego, I was lucky enough to attend some after show hour events.
Well, you're part of the club now. In New York, you were just still applying. You were like every other normal person who wanted to get in. Now that you're in, very different scenario.
Yeah, into a degree, right? I went to a couple of those events, and there are career comics people that have been doing that work for 30 years. And anytime I introduced myself to anyone, it was, I'm as new as it gets here. I have one thing coming out.
Which is why I think you were able to do that, because I think that's why there's the difference between those two people. If you did what I did and sold all day, you would not have it in you to then go to the after parties and have those meetings and then be functional the next day to do it again.
Yeah, I mean, I invited you. I tried to get you into one. You didn't want to go. You were like, I'm going home.
I'm going home. I'm going to go play with a baby and sleep.
Now I gotcha. You ain't going to crawl away from this one.
Gregory came with me instead, and we both went, good for Justin. There's nothing here that any of these people can give him.
Well, no, like it is definitely exciting stuff. But the best case scenario is I would have a potential project offer that would just stress me out because I have too many of my own things.
More work,
on the go. That time. Yeah, my plate's too full.
Yeah, but it was really different having that credit. Now it's people. I'm still sort of wrapping my head around it. It felt like people were treating me differently than when I was just not just an indie guy, but before I had the professional credit. So it's always so hard to know if that means anything, and I still don't know if that means anything.
Like, is it all just talk at this point, or
Right.
will something actually come? But it feels
if
the potential's there.
people are like, send me work. This sounds great. Congratulations. Blah blah blah. Everyone was so friendly, but when I go to email them, am I going to get any response? I have no idea. Maybe it's all just.
Oh, and I think an important thing that like you brought up a couple times during this weekend about situations like this is don't just send the one email.
Right.
Send multiple emails. People are incredibly busy. They're working on different things and can't be distracted from them right now.
Yep.
And if you send one email and then never follow up again,
You're never going to hear anything. Yeah.
But I think you got like rewarded a couple times this year because you like, every couple of months, like, hey, just here's a new project.
Yeah.
Just wanting to see where things at, blah, blah, blah. And like, I've done that same thing as well. If it's really important and you really want it, don't just cold call or email once. You got to drip on a person.
Totally.
And even like coming from the other side, like I know people have asked me about things like even just like general questions or about commissions or about like stuff on the store. And it's just, you get a dozen or so emails a day that need your attention. Things fall through the cracks. And I feel bad when somebody has to email 2 or 3 times, but it gets answered.
Right. You'll get to it.
You get to it.
A lot of the people that I spoke to that I had been emailing over the last however long would say to me like, yes, I read it all. I don't always have time to respond to it, but please keep emailing.
Yeah.
I'll get to it at some point, when there's something to get to.
Yeah, you got to catch a person at the right time. There's lives are busy.
So there's a lot of that.
There's
a lot of that.
Yeah.
Dan, what do you want to know about Comic-Con?
I guess did you have any fun stories from customers, Justin? About like usually you come back and there's like someone had a cool interaction with a star, or they have a very cool thing that you liked, or something like that.
There's a lot of bullying behind the Chasing Artwork booth. That's where I want to start with here.
Nah. We had a good banter at the booth, and I think people enjoyed it. Lot of ribbing, a lot of
bullying,
light
bullying Lyndon.
Oh, because it was your first time working?
No, Gregory would encourage people to place orders online for things that we didn't have at the booth under the guise that it would help Justin, obviously, with his sales. But because I am the one who packs the orders, he would phrase it as you can help Justin and hurt Lyndon. And that's what we strive for here at the Chasing Artwork booth.
People loved it.
People did love it, yeah.
I ran into Mike Bolt, who's got art up in the studio here. It's slightly covered by some canvases, but this was he's a huge children's book author, done a lot of work with like Scholastic and some other big things. And he was just there as an attendee with his kid. And we like came up together, like the very first couple big conventions. He was kind of doing it alongside. So it was great to reconnect with him. There's a couple clients that have licenses to properties that I've always kind of wanted to work on. So there was, some emails to follow up there. A couple celebrity sightings at the booth, like people walking by, but they always seem like kind of fast paced and they don't want to stop too long on the floor.
Except for the one I yelled at.
Well, that was, he's not a celebrity.
Well, he's a famous comic book, right?
Famous, yeah.
Yeah.
But no like A-list celebrities on the floor. I think when they walk the floor, they're usually in disguise.
Or wearing masks.
Wearing
I
masks.
see a lot of people that are still wearing masks.
Like
There's just
like
in the
mask.
crowd, like a regular like health mask or whatever.
Ooh,
Like a
pretty
health mask.
rare.
No?
Yeah, it's definitely out there.
I still see people on the bus and stuff doing it.
Yeah,
I just thought it's, it might still be around. But yeah, I've heard that celebrities, the ones that like to go on the floor, will like have a big elaborate cosplay, so they're not.
That's how we got bamboozled in Toronto last year.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what I always find like neat about these shows is like the people who are big deals usually like big deals in like the other respect, they're connected to these big companies or whatever. They're usually like incognito, like even their badge will not say that they're from, Marvel or DC or PlayStation or whatever. They'll have like a normal attendee badge. And then depending on how the interaction goes, then they drop like, actually, I work at PlayStation, we're doing this and that, and would you be interested? And that's happened like at least once or twice per year at New York and San Diego, a normal dressed person with a normal person badge turns out is like a big industry deal and is going the floor incognito. All this to say, be polite to your customers.
Yeah.
We got complimented a couple different times about how friendly we were at the booth and how we weren't on our phones and acknowledged people, and that was appreciated. But God, yeah, it is an exhausting show, and by the end of the day, you really do want to just kind of disappear into your phone and not talk to people.
Yes. I think Gregory and I only needed to get antagonistic with one or two fans,
Yeah.
which I don't know if that's a podcast story.
Well, in what way?
Oh, well, we can decide if we're going to cut this out or not after. Essentially, we had someone come up to the booth and ask for, Justin's going to correct me on what the name of this is, the Witch of Mercury?
Yeah.
Queen of Mercury?
Witch of Mercury.
Witch of Mercury, which is a Gundam print.
No, that's a Gundam show. The Ariel is the actual Gundam suit.
Okay.
Witch from Mercury is the show.
All right. Well, someone came up to the booth and they asked for the Witch of Mercury. And both Gregory and I were like, what is that? And he then points at the print on the display right beside us, and it's a Gundam print. And he goes, it's this one. And as Gregory goes in the back to get this print for him and help him, I go, sorry, we're just worker bees at the table. He doesn't know what all of the Gundam titles are. Justin's the artist. And this guy goes, well, why am I talking to him then? I should be talking to you or to Justin. And he's like sort of antagonistic about it. And at this point, it's Saturday afternoon. We've been working for 35 hours at this point, standing.
Probably much longer with everything else.
Oh, yeah. And at this point, I go, well, we're not all Gundam fans. And he goes, well, I'm not a Gundam fan, but I know that. And I go, well, you knew what this one's called. You must be a Gundam fan. And he says, no, of all the series, I only like these two. And Gregory now has joined me at the front again. And he goes, that means you're a Gundam fan because you've watched every series and you like these two.
There's a lot of series.
Yeah.
Thousands of episodes of Gundam at this point.
He was like, if you eat 99 pieces of chocolate and you like two of them, you are a fan of chocolate. So we're just like, the energy was rising, but we got there. We got there. He got his Witch of Mercury print that we didn't know the name of, and I learned a valuable piece of information.
My parents will work the booth from time to time, and people will often start like, okay, I know what I'm getting. I would like this, and Dad will stop. No. You point on the menu, and I will get them. But you start throwing Gundam names at me, and nothing's gonna happen. Yeah, it was overall a good show. I made lots of notes of things to do a little bit differently for next year. Couple of things to just be a little bit ahead of with what's going on with cross-border. But overall, amazing. Yeah.
Is there anything at this point now? You still planning to go to New York in the fall?
I am planning on going to New York. Yeah, it was always kind of on the list, and I've gotten the A-OK from the baby and baby's mom. So yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Got a boss baby, Justin. Do you have a boss baby at home?
Well, he's at the age, and my partner's lucky enough to get time off. That they came to San Diego with us, and then they're coming to Toronto with me as well. And then at the very end of the year, we're all going to Halifax together. So
It's great when they're so small that they don't cost an extra fare.
yeah.
That's awesome.
He flies.
Still can't get into San Diego Comic-Con, though.
No.
Oh no, babies are costing money to get in.
Well, we ran into a problem. Like we never planned on having the baby like come to the booth really, but it just worked out on the Thursday or Friday that okay, I'm getting dropped off. I'm gonna walk in with them. We're gonna say hi to a couple people, and then we'll get you guys out of here. Like we don't
Right, because you see friends there, you've never seen any.
Yeah.
They've never seen your baby.
No, they haven't. So
yeah.
I just wanted to like shove the baby in their face.
That's
Yeah,
what you do, right?
Yeah.
You just want to show it to everybody.
But yeah, we were stopped at the door, and they're like, "Where's your baby's badge?" And we're like,
It's ridiculous.
He's 8 months old. What do you mean? He's like, "Oh, he's got to have like a wristband." Then I'm like, he'd eat it. No,
Right, yeah.
and
A
the guy was like
wristband.
really adamant about like, no, like you can't like. So I'm like, okay, wait here, and then I went in and borrowed Lyndon's badge and put it on Casey, and he immediately started to eat it because he's a baby.
He's a baby.
And then they let me in. I'm like, that was dumb. So
Oh, he checks out now.
yeah. So hopefully
Now
this
he's legit. Yeah.
hopefully
He's
this
not
doesn't get
scanning
me.
the badge or anything. He's just wearing a badge.
Well, they scan on the Hopefully this doesn't get me banned from San Diego 2026. But I snuck in a baby for all of 15 minutes.
Yeah, it wasn't very long.
No, yeah, it's too overwhelming. The parents that are there with their kids, man, that's
I bet.
kudos to them.
You know, it ain't the wisest strategy to kidnap a baby and then let the damn thing loose on the streets. Babies crawling in traffic tend to draw attention, don't you think?
So you're doing all these shows now as a family. That's what
Where I was going with your question was, would there be anything that would happen that would make you not want to go? Like trade war, it's not really it's affecting your canvases, it's affecting your other products, but anything that would happen to make you not want to go?
I mean, yeah, like it's you go on the internet, it's all like doom and gloom and
Right.
kind of like scary, but like the travel there, the border security, the people in America, like zero difference from like everybody's still a normal person, everybody's happy, like there's always like police presence and everything around San Diego because it's such a big event, right? They're always worried about like things happening. But as far as like all the terrible stuff that you're seeing on the news, we weren't affected or saw anything like that. So
I had family ask if anyone had like searched through my phone or asked me anything
Yeah.
different at the border, and
right, yeah,
nothing.
no, nothing. They do have a new rule. So if you're traveling to the States, guys, this is like pro tip. They have a new rule in certain airports where they don't want you going through customs until 2 hours before your flight.
So dumb.
Everybody agrees that it's a dumb idea. The border security people think it's a dumb idea. The planes like the pilots on the other side think it's a dumb idea because everybody's getting caught up in customs now. So in the Calgary airport, there was an MPC form that you could fill out online to kind of like fast pass you through it. And we all did that, and I think it made a huge difference. And then when we got to our plane, there was 95 people missing from the plane because they were caught up in customs. So that was different, but that sounds like almost like an airport policy change than anything else. And it sounds like everybody is so frustrated with it. I don't think it's going to last forever.
No, people are missing their flights, and it's delaying things.
It's delaying everything. And
Thanks.
then all the businesses on the other side of those customs, nobody has time to do anything anymore, so they must be hemorrhaging money. But so as far as the going to the States, that was the only real difference we noticed. Everybody else, everybody's friendly, excited.
Dystopian dictators.
No, but the internet would
was
at least
California.
trying to feeding that. Yeah,
California. Let's see how New York
Yeah.
is.
That's right. Yeah.
No.
And like with the pins, we didn't have pins there, but we brought a couple just for display and explained people these are online only. We had the QR code set up, and the reason we couldn't bring them in is this is what's going on in world current events, and everybody understood. Everybody was super understanding. Immediately got what was going on. And because I had the QR code right there on the pins, we were able to get quite a few online orders.
They're currently all sitting behind me.
Yeah.
Empty boxes, ready to be filled.
Yeah. And I know like Claire C. Marshall, a friend of the podcast, has done stuff like that in the past as well. She had a bunch of books that couldn't make it to a convention, and so she immediately set up some kind of online ordering system. So people who were looking for that book too, that they bought book one for last year, could still buy it at the booth or had a way to purchase it at the booth. So if things don't show up or the wheels fall off, like all is not lost. People will understand and you can still make sales. It just will, take a bit longer to get to them. Might be a bit more effort on your part, but it's not, the world isn't over. Yeah. Mm. So next up, we've got the Toronto Fan Expo. It's another.
We do. Yeah.
So went to America's biggest convention, and now we have Canada's biggest convention.
And it's bigger than ever.
Yeah. So you want to talk about the changes to the floor plan of the Toronto Fan Expo?
Well, the Toronto, as long, Dan, have we answered? Do you have any other pressing questions about
I know
San Diego?
Gregory, I'm sure, is going to want to
Well,
talk.
yeah, I think like the stuff I want to ask you, I think we'll wait for Gregory to come here.
Sure.
More about the networking and the
Sure.
business side of it. So yeah, that's it for now.
Yeah, no, the Toronto Fan Expo, which we're leaving for in 3 weeks,
It's coming up.
is coming up fast, like just under 3 weeks exactly, actually. We go on the 20th. On the floor, in previous years, they've had a food court area with a bunch of overpriced food booths.
I mean, it's a convention center.
Right.
What convention center has reasonably priced food stuff?
It's true. But they've done away with that this year. They've gotten rid of that food court.
Hold up. There was always 2 food courts.
Where?
There's
Oh,
one-
right. You're
there's
right.
one
There's
on
one
the-
on the far side.
Yeah, there's always 2 food courts. Sorry,
Right.
go
Okay.
ahead.
So there's 2 food courts. They've eliminated the food court that existed in the Artist Alley, which, for those who have never attended the Toronto Fan Expo, it is located across 2 buildings. One of the buildings is the guest area and, I don't know, would you say large vendors? It has...
It's the overflow area. The Fan Expo used to just be one building, and then it got so big that they
Yeah.
took over 2 buildings. And
Yes.
people really were upset that they basically added another 40% to the show and moved the celebrities to another building.
Right. But what kind of merchandise would you say is in the
It's general vendors, like same
Okay.
as you find in most vendors at most conventions. It's just there was more demand, so they added more room, and then because it's in a different place, it's still attached, but it's a bit of a walk.
Yeah.
They put all the celebrities there to ensure that the crowds would also go to this other floor and check
Just
that
like
out as well.
Putting the milk at the back of the grocery store.
Right.
So
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Because if they didn't have the celebrities there, then everybody would be quite upset.
So now they've done something similar in the Artist Alley, in that they've eliminated that food court that was there, and they've replaced it with more artist tables,
Hundreds of artist tables.
like 100
Yeah.
tables.
Is it 70 premium artists and 136 normal tables, something like that?
No, there's 20 something new end caps.
Okay.
And then 76 new regular tables,
Right.
something like that. So about 100 more tables have been introduced. And there's some online chatter about what to expect for changes for people who are already are already in the Artist Alley at that show.
Because now the money is going to be more spread out.
In theory.
There's more competition.
In theory. Again, I'm of the opinion that growing a show is a good thing. There are a lot of people.
Slowly.
There are a lot of people who've been waiting on the wait list to try and get into this show for a number of years, but because of the way that show works, if you exhibit, you can grandfather into the next year, so you don't have to reapply. It's not a juried system like that, like it is at some anime shows,
And you
for
do
example.
not as significant as San Diego, but you do save what, $120?
Yeah,
It's-
10%.
Yeah, you save a little chunk of money if you grandfather in that year, and that it is kind of also comforting to know that that's locked in, and you don't have to worry about am I going
Agreed.
or aren't I?
Yep. But the concern, as Justin said, is there are some artists that have been doing the show for a number of years that are worried that the increased amount of artists isn't going to result in an increased amount of attendees, and so the total pot of revenue is going to be spread thinner amongst all of the artists in Artist Alley. And I hear that. It's not something that I'm personally worried about, because we sell comic books, and in Artist Alley that makes us part of a group of like 9 tables. So my competition is not going up noticeably, that I can tell.
So you're not scared of the competition.
No, I'm actually just excited. This expansion has allowed us to upgrade to an end cap table, which we've been trying to get for a number of years.
Problem. You're part of the new flump.
How dare I? How dare? Know what it actually is? It's the baby boomer quote artists that won't retire and leave space for the younger artists to come in.
Honestly, I just think it's a con monetizing their space.
100%. Yeah.
This is another source of income. We can get fees from these artists.
Right.
I'd say it's a lot at once. I think you're right. A little more slowly. Like maybe add 50.
Yeah.
See how that goes. Like this is a lot.
Well,
at
and
once.
they have been, like, they didn't used to be on that carpeted area at all. So
Right.
they've been slowly expanding the Artist Alley for a number of years, but this is a significant bump up. A bunch of my friends just did the Anime Expo in LA, which added another 40% like growth in size of artists and vendors, and everybody did notice like a drop in sales, but that could be a couple different things. Like I said, like the show used to be in one building,
Right.
and then it grew to 2,
Right.
and I don't remember. All I remember is people who were in the new building complaining that it wasn't as good as the old building.
Yeah.
But I mean, now it's business as usual. Nobody even remembers back when it was one building.
Yeah, and I think after this year,
It'll be the same
remember
thing.
what it was like when it was 50%
Yeah.
less.
Yeah.
I think one of the main complaints, and Dan, you can weigh in on this as a former showrunner in a past life, is that everyone paid their full table fee, and then the convention decided to expand the number of tables that they were selling. So some of the artists in Artist Alley feel as though the value that they paid for their table is less now because they've reduced their earning potential, and that they should get some of that money returned to them because the show has increased its own revenue with sort of no kickback to the artists at that point.
I don't think they have any ground
Leg to
sit on.
stand on.
That seems pretty weak. I get how they feel that way.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, they are kind of watering down the product, so to speak, but yeah, you can't really have...
Or they're not. Or they're increasing the product.
Well-
For all we know, these artists that have been waiting to get in are going to be excellent.
Or
I know
terrible.
Justin
Or
isn't
terrible.
Worried. I know Gregory isn't worried, but you guys have a very distinct look. And
Right.
You have, there's nobody that compete with you guys because you have your own thing. But any artists who maybe kind of look more like
Right.
other artists are going to have a tough time with this.
Right.
We were talking about this at San Diego, how during COVID there was kind of this TikTok generation of artists have popped up once COVID ended. A lot of artists and vendors were on social media, like really laying out like the cost of doing shows, the cost of making art, the cost, like the profit that they can bring in. And so we saw a lot of these new artists show up that have like these really cohesive booths, like really bright colors, really like manicured, like kind of a new type of artist has like appeared on the scene.
Like a boutique shop.
Yeah, almost like a little boutique shop, and they're everywhere. And I think they're starting to hurt a little bit. That I think it was maybe great in that COVID bubble, but they're not.
You like the boom right after shows returned. Because remember, shows stopped for a bit.
That's right. Yeah.
Are you talking about like the kind of person that has maybe some keychains and they've got some like
Yes.
little knitted stuffies?
Yes.
They got some. They got some prints too.
Yeah.
And but it's all like anime themed and it's all like whatever around some fandom or something like.
Yeah, and
Or maybe a couple different fandoms to get kind of a wider.
we're
audience.
generalizing, of course, but
Yeah.
there was just like after COVID, there was a boom of new artists, and I
Agreed.
think like that's part of this show's expanding everywhere because the demand for artist tables has like I think just gone up quite a bit since at COVID. Everybody was at home and maybe rediscovered their passion and like, oh, I can turn my hobby into dollars and look at all these TikTokers explaining exactly how to do it. Again, this is maybe old man yells at clouds, but it's definitely something I noticed and I was like kind of keeping an eye on. And then I had a couple other friends bring it up as well. It's like, okay, it's not just me. Like their tables are great and they're like really like focused in on whatever like thing they're doing. Like it's not just more and more print artists. There's like all these other kinds of artists showing up. So it's kind of exciting.
Not enough comic artists, though.
No,
Not enough comic books.
They'll come back. They'll come back.
I lived.
Get back up there!
But yeah, we've been hearing like from different people who run different shows, just the applications for artists is staggering, which I think is really great.
Yeah,
really
I think it's
exciting.
great.
Yeah.
And then you have shows like Regina.
Oh, are we going to
Regina-
talk about Regina?
Regina is no longer happening.
Okay.
So they made a statement that they wanted. So last year, to catch everybody up, the 2024 Regina show, a couple of days before the show, like a week,
With less than a week.
they canceled the show. They said the organizer has had a medical emergency, is going to the hospital. The show is canceled. Which I always thought kind of weird that like the entire show hinged. Well, Dan,
One person.
If some,
Not surprised to hear that.
Okay, yeah.
The way these shows are run, yeah.
So yeah, that was unfortunate. So then the follow up is like, okay, like so. He, I think, then sent out an email saying like we can forward everybody's tables on to 2025.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
There was no option B.
I don't think there was.
Refund
I think they said like, please be patient with us. We'd be happy to move it over. I don't remember there being a refund option.
I don't think there was. So fast forward a year, 2025. Here we are. Show is canceled forever. no mention about refunds of any way, shape, or form. So now everybody is kind of a little pissed off because, like for some people, like $700 for a table when this is not their primary source of income, like that's a big hit.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of taken and no explanation as to where it went or what happened. And
I have theories. We only have theories, but we have no proof of anything.
no,
But don't they have? There's nothing for them to do now. Can they not take legal action or something or will they not bother with that?
class,
It's not worth it.
because it's a bunch of little artists with but like I lost out. I had to cancel. I was kind of extra ticked off because I wasn't even going to do Regina until like
The last
a couple
minute. Yeah.
last minute. So I got in like a couple days.
And-
I got in like 24 hours before he canceled the show.
Oh.
So I was like, okay, extra crappy. But like people lost out on flights, on hotels, on
Yeah.
all kinds of
Yeah.
expenses. And for some fledgling artists, like that's a huge blow. So everybody's kind of irate, and we will keep you updated, listener, on
There's no show. That's the update.
They've
already said they're dissolving. There's no show.
And then they don't reply to emails. They don't comment on social media posts. So it's just kind of people on the internet riling each other up in the comment section. And it really sucks. And I don't know if there'll ever be a resolution there.
Probably not. I can only hope that the Regina community will get another show at some point. Because right now they only have the Saskatoon show now.
No, but there is also the Winnipeg Comic Con.
It's true.
Organization that's done now. They've expanded west a little bit. They've gone
Oh.
from Montreal to Ottawa, right? The same.
Yeah.
They could go a little further west to
Yeah.
Regina.
Fan Expo had
They
originally
did do, yes.
run a Regina show.
That was the very first Regina show, was a Fan Expo show.
Right,
Yeah,
and
I was
I-
there in 2013.
He was there at the beginning.
That was when
there.
Gregory helped me out at a table for the very first time.
Great. Was it big enough that you needed a table helper?
I had a premium end cap, and it was busy.
Wow.
That was amazing. The first Regina show was like blew everybody's socks off. But then we told everybody Regina was an amazing show. So the next year, everybody showed up, and it was still an amazing show, but
Right.
not as great as that first year.
Yeah.
And then it slowly got quieter and quieter, and
Right.
it's
It's like doing the Morden show.
sorry.
Like doing the Morden show.
I haven't done a Morden show in a while, but
Yeah.
there is like a small little Morden show. Morden is a tiny town, kind of close to the city, closer to where I grew up on a farm, and they have a couple little one-day conventions happening these days.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's sometimes you really luck out with those 1-2 day local events. Some of them are snooze fest, and you should bring something else to work on. Some of them will shock you, and you will be like off your feet. The flea.
It was amazing punk rock flea market. I did it for the
1-day
first time.
event.
Amazing. I hope
Like,
it stays like
I
that.
remember Gregory telling me about that, and then my first thought was like, I'm sure that'll be fun, and like that's totally your scene.
Yeah.
But probably won't be super busy. You'll be able to like actually do some shopping, get some work done, like go have a fun weekend. And then they were
Slammed.
Yeah, you guys were slammed.
I mean, my first show of that was his third or something.
Yeah.
So not even the first one. And I had like an amazing day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to take chances on those shows sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. But we'd still love to do San Diego someday. That'd be awesome.
As a
table guy.
as a
If
table.
I had my own table, that'd be great.
Well, maybe when Justin's ready to retire his.
No. When Justin's ready to retire, the baby inherits the earth.
Yeah.
It inherits the empire. Yeah.
That's how this is going to go.
Yeah, no, but maybe if I can convince a booth like Stranger Fiction to have a table, or something that I could share some
Stranger
space we could all
Fiction
cover for
has
each other.
better chance because they're a Canadian publisher.
Yeah.
There's a little more demand for stuff like that at San Diego. So again, in like your emails to applying to shows, not only just apply, but like follow up and like what makes you special? Like why should you be at that show?
Right.
Because a lot of some shows are run by faceless corporations. They don't care. They want your money for the table and get out of here. Other shows want to curate like a really good experience for the attendees. And so they give a shit if it's just all the same kind of looking artists or if it's a whole bunch of variety and good quality stuff. So,
Yep.
Email those shows.
Okay, Justin, best part, worst part.
Best part, worst part.
San Diego Comic-Con. You can start with worst part if you want. I can probably
Worst?
tell you, I probably know what it is.
The worst part was my child bonked his head for the first time while crawling around the condo and got like a goose egg like 5 minutes into the trip, and really scary. And he was frightened. He's fine now. He's got a little bruise, but that was terrifying. He's all good now.
When you think you're gonna have to take a kid to an American emergency.
Oh,
That was
God,
yeah, like
yeah.
is he okay? Is he okay? Okay, what?
Please don't go to the hospital.
I
Yeah.
don't want to go to an American hospital.
The setup was all sweaty on the San Diego floor. Like they don't turn the air conditioning on
Oh.
until attendees come. So like Gregory and I arrived and we're helping Justin set up, and it's just like a sauna in there.
Yeah, they're not going to waste the AC for vendors.
Vendors. Yeah.
I'm trying to come back to me for best part. That was my worst
For
part.
best part. So I mean, worst part for me, I didn't have a bad part. It was amazing. No,
The sweaty.
the sweaty setup. Yeah, I mean, we went and took a walk through the floor during the setup also, and it's I have this like new appreciation for watching shows get set up. It's like it's quiet, but everyone's busy. They're bustling
They're
around.
just herds of forklifts
Yeah.
beeping, like,
Trying not to get
constantly.
hit by forklifts. I watched a guy like tear up a carpet with his forklift trying to move something. The worst part might be that I had the Jurassic Park theme song stuck in my head all weekend.
It wasn't playing. We just had a Jurassic Park booth beside us.
Yeah.
And so at one point or another, one of the three of us would just start humming the song.
Yeah. Yeah. And then suddenly everyone was doing it, and even now it's playing in my head again. I can't get rid of it. Yeah. But no, I mean, if there was a worst part, it's that the show is so large that I did not feel like I got to walk the floor and see it all.
Even though we're there in the morning, like
Right.
hours before it opens, and you don't have crowds to fight, but it's just
so much.
so much, and it's, your brain stops processing at a certain point. Even though you're looking at everything,
Yeah.
it's not sinking in anymore because you've been doing this for an hour, and every booth is a new like assault on your senses.
Yeah. So when I picture the layout of that show floor, there are blanks in the map in my brain where I don't know what was over there. I have no idea because I didn't get to go check it out because there's just so much to see. And, the schedule says the show opens at 9:30, but the doors open at 9. So
It's a very loose opening and closing schedule. It's
Right,
It's
yeah.
kind of whatever
No
they
one-
feel like.
no one leaves at 7 when the show ends. Everyone is maybe out of there by 7:40 type thing.
Yeah.
There's no set hours.
Is there anybody trying to shut down early at the end of the weekend? Like
There was
Sunday?
on Sunday.
Yeah, we had a couple of people running out, but I don't think that would be because of like business. It's probably flights or
Yeah.
There's also like trying to use the elevators down to the parkade at the end of the show. Like even we took our time taking down. We probably
We
had a
sat
2-hour
at a meal.
We sat. We had some sushi from Ralph's convenience store that Gregory picked up. Questionable, but we did it.
We did it.
And then on the way out, there is still a line, probably 20 people long, with huge handcarts waiting to use the elevator into the parkade. So maybe I think that's probably what those people were after. Like, just beat the rush out of there.
Yeah.
Did you do best?
I haven't done best part. Do you have a best part?
I do. Okay, my best part was on the Saturday night. A whole bunch of artist friends, some that I get to hang out with, a lot that I don't. We had Kia Shack, Pascal Productions, Quirkulicious, and Yukio Heroes by Jed Henry are all like good friends that I've been like coming up with like for like over a decade now. And a lot of these guys I only see like once, twice a year in the States. And it was kind of nice hanging out with those guys because even though we're all very different styles, they're very much the same business plan as me. Whereas like Gregory is definitely more into like his publishing and comics, and Lyndon, very different stuff as well. These guys are like kind of after the same stuff that I am. So just being able to like hang out with those guys and like commiserate and
You have the same mountain.
we have the very similar mountains. Yeah.
Are you chasing the same artwork?
Well, again, like our stuff is all so different.
Chasing
right?
different artwork. Right?
Yeah, but so it's great to hang out with those people who are really cut from the same cloth. And a lot of them I don't get to see very often. So that was a great hangout. So that was a highlight for my weekend.
I mean, my highlight, I think I've touched on already, was just sort of all the comics professionals that I was able to connect with on and off the floor. I felt like every once in a while I would be like, Justin, Gregory, I need to leave right now and go do this thing. I'll be back in 10 minutes. And I'd go running down the floor and then come back sweaty later. Sunday morning, I was out at a breakfast with some other comics makers, and I get a text from Justin talking about how busy the show is.
I think it was just one word. It was busy.
It was just busy, yeah, which indicates so busy that he can't text.
And there's no indicator. I think it was like both Greg and I were there, and then it's first thing in the morning. So I'm like, okay, I got this. Like, go, like, if you want to wander, wander. And so he wandered for a while, and like the second he left sight of the booth, we have kind of two sides of the table where you can like look at portfolios, interact, and it was nonstop from both sides. So I'm jumping back and forth for like a full 45 minutes, an hour, just like slinging two booths at once before finally somebody got back.
Well, yeah, I get this text from Justin that just says busy, and I'm at this breakfast with other creatives, and I see the text, and I immediately stand up and say like, guys, I'm really sorry, I gotta go. This is the bat. I got the bat signal going up, and then I leave and I start running across the San Diego Comic-Con pier, trying to make it my way over to the Chasing Artwork
fighting
booth.
The crowd.
Fighting the crowd, and they had cut off part of the walking path for the Hall H crowd so that people wouldn't walk between Hall H and where people have been lined up for days. So I had to like run all the way around that too before I could get into the floor. And then I got to the booth and everything was fine.
It quieted down by then. Yeah. It always comes in waves. If you've done conventions, you know busyness comes in waves.
Yeah. But I met so many amazing people. I came home to think like, if every year is like this year was, I might not be able to skip San Diego Comic-Con ever again.
Oh, okay.
So that was my best part.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's we can wrap it up.
We wrap it up?
Yeah.
Do you remember the words to wrap it up?
Well, usually,
Summary.
Gregory does like a summary. So to summarize, San Diego Comic-Con is a lot of work. It's a lot of logistical stress, and it took kind of years of doing conventions before I was ready for it. So if you've got like a big show in mind, know that it's good to kind of work your way up to those big boosts, those big shows. Lots of little shows are a great way to kind of just work out the kinks of your portfolio, of your setup. I am so thankful that I kind of figured out everything that I figured out before attending those big shows. So I would recommend it to, and then to be able to have those conversations with those big clients and those big companies is only because I've had a million little conversations with little commissions and little projects. So I'm ready when, somebody from Displate or Udon or Mondo comes up to the booth and you kind of know the lingo. So start small, work up to the big stuff. And this has been Super Pulp Science, where genre gets made. Dun 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 dun.
Join the fight, make comics.
Join the fight, make comics.